Today I've got a product that I'm excited to try out that was sent to me by some folks here in the USA who created the ColdWave. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about, is that it's actually a coffee maker that's made in the USA, BPA free, and it actually does something new that other coffee makers don't do. So this is an instant beverage chiller. So if you've ever been in a predicament where you wanted some cold brew or some iced coffee right away, but you didn't have any on hand that you had previously brewed, this would be your solution. Unless, of course, you chose to do Japanese style iced coffee, this is still probably a faster way of doing things. So the concept, from my understanding, is pretty simple. You basically brew a pot of hot coffee or any hot beverage, and you pour it into the pitcher, and then you remove your inserts from the freezer where they should be chilling previously, and then you add it to the pitcher and it instantly cools your drink. Pretty simple, right? So we'll see if it's as simple as it says it is. I think that this is all plastic, so I mean, some people might be a little bit weirded out about that, putting a hot beverage into a plastic pitcher, but again, at least it's BPA free. Still doesn't solve all of the problems of plastics, but hey, I'm not gonna freak out about it too much. So let's just unbox this baby. And it's much smaller than I thought it was going to be. When I got the box, I thought I was going to be taking out a very large pitcher. But this is not too big. So this is what the inserts look like. And water goes into each of these inserts and then you freeze it. So that's how the cooling process works. And then there's the pitcher itself. Pretty cool design, gotta say. Okay, so then it's got a maximum fill line, I guess, up to here. That seems pretty shallow. But I guess we'll see how that works. And of course, a little instruction booklet. It's easy to clean, dishwasher safe, and it should cool your hot beverages in under 2 minutes, so still faster than your Japanese style iced coffee. And it does say that it's completely safe, contains purified water, same BPA-free material as ice cube trays and baby bottles, so that's pretty reassuring, I'd say. All right, here's some good questions here. How many times can I use the ColdWave before it needs to be refrozen? Blah, 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 blah. Well, anyway, you can read all that stuff on your own. I'm just gonna get right to brewing. So before I used the ColdWave, I wanted to make sure that I had my hot coffee dialed in. So I brewed up a cup with the Kalita Wave. Just finished it, it was delicious, and I've got the exact same grind, and I'm gonna use all the other same parameters, so same amount of coffee and water, and just brew that into this 12-ounce mug. I'm going to be using water that is at 205 degrees Fahrenheit, at least at the start, and that's through my Bonavita variable temperature kettle. So I'm just gonna try and brew things exactly the same, and hopefully the result with the ColdWave is that it's just as delicious, and maybe I'll pick up some new flavors that I wasn't picking up with the hot version of the coffee. So here we go. Okay, our coffee is freshly brewed, and I'm going to use my thermometer here, ThermoWorks, to see what our temperature is at right after brewing. Right, so 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't mind my mallet finger. I love the ColdWave because it really does a great job at retaining heat during the brew process. So we've got our ColdWave ready to go. Let me just get the other component out of the freezer. It's been sitting in there for a couple hours. Okay, this is nice and cold. All right, let's do our best to pour this hot coffee without spilling. Okay, we're below the fill line. Okay, so let's see how, let's give it 2 minutes. And then I'll pour it into a glass and we'll measure the temperature. So again, there's no dilution here because all of that frozen water is within each of those little icicle thingies. So pretty cool design in that sense. So I'd say we're just about at the 2 minute mark. I haven't been timing, but I am curious to see just how cool this got. Oh yeah. 85.3. So that's a nice big 80-degree drop. And it's not cold, but it's at room temperature, I'd say. So let's see if I have something that passes as a nice coffee. Not quite. As far as taste goes, I would say that it's pretty on par with what I was getting from the hot coffee. If I'm being 100% honest, I preferred the hot coffee. It just had a little bit more complexity. This one has a little bit more acidity. It's just kind of a solid flavor, solid consistent flavor. So I'm going to dump this out and then we'll re-pour and see what temperature we're at. Yes, it pains me to waste that much coffee too, but we're experimenting, right? It's at 83. Yeah, 83.5. So, not much of a drop in the last few minutes. So I was expecting something a lot colder. Not gonna lie. I think that the next time I try this, I'm gonna try maybe cooling for 5 minutes versus the 2 that I just experimented with. See if that gets us down to a level that it's at a temperature that is close to cold brew. Obviously, it's not gonna cool it down super significantly because these guys are only gonna do so much in the cooling process. But I'd be curious to see what happens if this was added to the fridge for a few minutes, how that would affect temperature. So I'll be back with some more tests. I think it will be a perfect time to give the ColdWave another try. And that's one of the benefits of this guy. If you don't want to wait for your coffee to cool down, then you can just pour it into the ColdWave and get instantly drinkable coffee, although it will be at room temperature or below. So I'm just getting the temperature here, 165. So yesterday when I experimented with the ColdWave, I did a 2-minute steep time, or whatever you want to call it. Today I'm gonna do a little bit longer, maybe about 4 minutes. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit of the coffee in here, and then I'm gonna leave the rest of it to cool down at room temperature, and then I'm just gonna pair the coffee side by side. Boy, I'm really good at making a mess. So we'll compare the ColdWave coffee to the naturally cooled down coffee. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, and let's just check where our hot coffee is before we test our ColdWave coffee. So the hot coffee has cooled down to 138. I don't know why you wouldn't believe me, but I felt like I had to show you. So now let's pour some ColdWave. And it's much easier to pour once it's in there than it is to pour into the actual receptacle from a mug. Okay, wow, so it's gone down to 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So yesterday when I tried it, in about 2 minutes, it was kind of in the 48 range. This time, it's much lower, and so I'm gonna give it a try. And yeah, it's definitely instantly cold now. It's not room temperature like it was yesterday. And I'm picking up way more than I was from the hot coffee. Let's try the hot coffee again. It's got a really strong aftertaste, almost caramel-like. Yeah, strong caramel aftertaste is the main thing I'm picking up. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that this coffee is very good, to be honest, but I would say that I probably prefer the cold version, maybe because of how hot it is right now here in the city, but this guy did deliver in the 5-minute mark. So for a beverage that was originally 165 degrees, I think it was, to be able to drop down to sub 40 degree temperature in less than 5 minutes, or just about 5 minutes, it's pretty impressive. So definitely a quick way to get some iced coffee, and I don't think flavor is compromised. I actually think it's improved, at least in this one quick trial.